When you hear the words, Mr. Christie, you make good cookies, do you think of the Fudgio, the Oreo, or Chips Ahoy? I bet you are taken back to the times when you were young, enjoying a cool glass of milk and your favorite cookies. But do you know that the Christie family have a secret? Mr. Christie first came to Toronto in 1848 as a teenager. He may have been very young, but he had already spent a few years as an apprentice to a baker in his homeland of Scotland. Now in Canada, he got a job working at a bakery on Yonge near Davisville. He'd spend his nights baking bread, and in the morning, he would push a handcart down to the nearby village of Yorkville to sell his goods. Within a few years, he owned his own company. He partnered with his old boss and started winning awards for his cookies. In 1860, at the age of 30, Mr. Christie employed 5 people baking for him. The business expanded quickly. By 1874, Christie, Brown and Company's factory took up an entire city block. The building sits between King and Adelaide, a block east of Jarvis, and is now part of George Brown College. Business boomed, and by the time the 1800s drew to a close, Mr. Christie employed 2 out of every 3 people in the entire Canadian biscuit manufacturing industry. When he died of cancer in June of 1900, Willian Mellis Christie was one of the most famous businessmen in all of Canada. He built a fortune, traveled the world, and became a public figure in Toronto. He was a trustee of the University of Toronto and a member of the Board of Trade. Christie Street was named in his honor. His mansion stood in one of the highest profile spots in Toronto, across the street from Queen's Park at the corner of Wellesley. That's where he passed away. As he was laid to rest in Mount Pleasant Cemetery, his son Robert inherited everything: the money, the business, and the Christie Mansion. And you see, this is where things got a little weird. Robert Christie had a mistress. While he was living in the Christie Mansion with his family, he decided that she should move in and live there too. Okay, so this is a little strange. How can you hide an affair from your family when the mistress is living in the same house? Well, he kept her hidden in a secret chamber behind the wood paneling of his library. They called it Room 29. It was fully furnished with a bed and a bathroom, and she had her very own butler to bring her all of her meals so she would never have to leave Room 29. She spent her time alone, waiting for Robert to visit so they could have sex. What kind of life would that have been, living secluded in a secret room of an old Victorian mansion, cut off from the rest of the world by your lunatic, cookie baron lover? Well, some say she slowly went mad as Robert began to lose interest, and she was left alone in her windowless room. Some stories say she hung herself from the rafters with her bed sheets, while others claim that she created a makeshift garrote and strangled herself. Either way, she suffered both in life, if you could call it that, and in death. They say Robert had her body secretly removed under the cover of darkness and buried somewhere on the grounds of Queen's Park. Some claim the guilt caused the distraction that led to the business suffering. Robert was forced to sell the mansion to the university, and soon he followed his father to the grave. They claim the ghost of his mistress still haunts the Christie Mansion. The building became home to a local chapter of the Sisters of St. Joseph's, and now the Jesuits' Regius College. It is said that if you enter room 29 by yourself at night, the door will swing shut behind you. You will find it locked, and nothing you can do will open it. If there is no one on the other side of the door to hear your screams, you'll be trapped all night, just like Robert Christie's mistress, all those years ago. Nabisco bought out the company after Robert's death. They would give it the famous slogan, Mr. Christie, you make good cookies, and it would become the brand that would bring us the Oreo, the Fudgio, and Chips Ahoy. So next time you enjoy your favorite Christie's cookie, think of the poor lady that spent her life locked up at the hands of the family whose name is on the bag. Thanks for watching. Join me next time for more tales that are strangely Canadian. Robert Christie, you were a strange, strange man.